Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH the Flame Emperor episode number 146 based on novel. So let's start. Refining medicinal pills? Xiao Yang suddenly looked at Qin Xin in surprise when he heard the words. Although I don't know the exact details of Qin Xin, but based on Xiao Yang's understanding and perception of Qin Xin, and it is obvious that everyone can see that Qin Xin is wearing something unusual, so if you want to refine medicine pills, should not be able to use yourself. How's it going? Qin Xin finished speaking, and she was looking forward to Xiao Yang's answer. Qin Xin naturally has huge forces behind her, but Qin Xin doesn't want to rely too much on them, so she can only ask Xiao Yangdao for help. Furthermore, the medicinal pill refined this time is somewhat special, and it cannot be refined unless it has holy flame. This is also the main reason why Qin Xin went to Xiao Yang. Qing Lao told you, right? Xiao Yang heard the words, his brows furrowed, whether to agree or not, he was extremely confused. After all, Qin Xin found herself to refine the medicine pill. I am afraid it will not be a simple thing. The master told me. Your alchemist level should have reached the second rank emperor rank, and you also possess holy flames. That's why I'm looking for you. But don't worry, I won't tell anyone else. Qin Xin said. In this case, you should also know the rules of refining medicine, right? After struggling for a while, Xiao Yang decided to help Qin Xin. After all, he still has something to revive his ancestor Xiao Xian, and see if he can be here at Qin Xin. A vicious extortion. I know, you have to prepare your own herbs. Don't worry, I have already prepared 3 sets of medicinal materials, as long as you refine one before the 3 sets of medicinal materials are exhausted. Qin Xin seemed to have expected Xiao Yang to agree, and smiled. Oh, by the way, asking me to make medicinal pills is very expensive. Xiao Yang still did not forget. Even Qin Xin, Xiao Yang decided to slaughter her. Expensive? What do you need? Money? Qin Xin shook her head and asked in confusion. After all, Qin Xin has always been pampered like an eldest lady, and she seldom asks for help, so she doesn't know the specific process. Do you look at me like someone who lacks money? Xiao Yang rolled his eyes helplessly. That's right. High-level pharmacists shouldn't be short of money. Then what do you want? Qin Xin said, her heart was still nervous. This Xiao Yang shouldn't slaughter her like a big fat pig. I don't want much. Gale Wind Treasure Fruit, Songlong Ju, Heavenly King Ginseng. 3 kinds of medicinal herbs are enough. Xiao Yang smiled slowly. The 3 medicinal materials that Xiao Yang mentioned are the medicinal materials used to refine the medicinal pills needed for the resurrection of his ancestors. Besides, Xiao Yang now only has the medicinal ingredients of this medicinal pill and the body of a Do-Di strong man, so that he can refine the body for his ancestor Xiao Xian. What? Gale Wind Treasure Fruit, Songlong Ju, Heavenly King Ginseng? Hey, Xiao Yang, did you make a mistake? Do you know what the 3 medicinal herbs you just mentioned are? Qin Xin seemed to be frightened by Xiao Yang's sky-high asking price, and her expression changed slightly. I know. Xiao Yang responded casually. After all, the medicinal materials required for higher-level medicinal herbs are naturally more precious. Knowledge? I don't think you know. First of all, let's talk about the Gale Wind Treasure Fruit. This is something that has a very small chance of being produced in the land of raging flames, and it is said that there is only one for hundreds of years. Do you know that the entire Shenzhen Santian has a price and no market? There is also the Songlong Ju, but it is linked to the word dragon. It is a forbidden area for humans. Because of the power of the dragon family, and this thing, according to my memory, the entire Shenzhen Santian probably hasn't appeared in nearly 100 years. The last Heavenly King Ginseng, it is the best among countless ginsengs. It is said that it can directly improve a person's strength, and its value is more precious than the 2 less ones. Qin Xin pouted, full of surprise. I know the preciousness of these medicinal materials, but I think that the medicinal pills you want to refine should not be simple, so ask me for help, it is worth the price. Xiao Yang said slowly, but his heart was filled with flowers. You're taking advantage of the fire. Qin Xin seemed to have noticed Xiao Yang's smile at the next moment, and immediately said angrily, It's not that I'm asking for the price, but I'm the only person in the entire burning incense pavilion who has holy flame and medicine refining skills. Xiao Yang didn't want to talk nonsense with Qin Xin, and said directly, I can find at most one of your 3 things. Qin Xinbei said after biting her lips tightly. Ah! Xiao Yang suddenly became puzzled when he heard this. This is my biggest concession. If this is not enough, this transaction can only be terminated. Qin Shin said unwillingly. The medicinal pill that I need is very anxious. If I can't get it in a short period of time, I am afraid it will affect my future potential. It's okay, I just heard it wrong. You said you could find one of them for me? Xiao Yang hurriedly asked. My darling, Xiao Yang had never even heard of these 3 medicinal herbs, let alone looked for them, so when he heard that Qin Shin could find one of them, he immediately became happy. Yep. I can find Gale Wind treasure fruit for you. As for the others, I am powerless. Qin Shin said with difficulty. Then this deal is done. Xiao Yang nodded immediately after hearing this. He naturally knew that this deal would be the biggest beneficiary to him. A word is settled. Qin Shin thought she had heard it wrong when she heard the words, but the next moment, she insisted. Since I think the deal has been reached, I don't know what kind of medicinal pill you want to refine. Xiao Yang immediately asked when the deal was reached. As for the prescriptions and medicinal materials, as a pharmacist, you naturally have the qualifications to read, otherwise you will not recognize what refining is, let alone do it. After all, it is difficult for a clever woman to cook without rice. The elixir I made is called Shenyin pill, which should be regarded as an adjuvant, but its rank is enough to rank at the peak of the second-rank Emperor rank Earth pill. How? Are you confident? Qin Shin finished speaking and laughed with anticipation. No problem. Xiao Yang smiled. But before refining, I still need a little time. Xiao Yang said. Do you need some time? Qin Shin heard the words, her eyes slightly wrinkled, but she desperately needed it, and she was in a hurry, otherwise she would not have given out the Gale treasure fruit as a reward. I came back from the desert mountain range and reached the rank of a second-rank alchemist of the Emperor rank, but recently I forgot to enter the promotion. Xiao Yang said a little embarrassedly. What? Qin Shin heard the words, and her head was covered with black lines. The promotion of this alchemist requires not only huge soul power, but also enough fighting chi support, but this Xiao Yang is good, he clearly has the qualification of a second-grade Emperor alchemist, but he has no impact. When the alchemist peers heard it, they might be laughing at him. Well then, after we come out of the Doji Pavilion, I will protect the law for you. And the ruins are only 4 months old. I hope they can be refined before the ruins are opened and get rid of you, Xiao Yang. Qin Shin said to Xiao Yang with her big eyes flashing. Doji Pavilion? Remains. Xiao Yang suddenly became puzzled after hearing Qin Shin's voice. Don't you know? Originally, after we entered Tongtian River, we could go to Doji Pavilion to cultivate the treasures of the temples in each hall, but you are better, you don't know what to do in Tongtian River alone, and you stay for 2 months. Since our incense burner was founded, there are only a handful of disciples who have entered the 9th level cultivation cave, and you are the 7th. But it's also the most powerful one. Qin Shin said, only then did she realize that the man named Xiao Yang in front of her was extremely good. Not only did he join the Burning Incense Pavilion because of his own ability to win the first place in the points plundering competition, but he also killed the twin ghost emperors, and now he has practiced in the Tongtian River for 2 full months. All of these make Qin Shin, who has always taken excellence as her responsibility, feel a trace of happiness. Hey, are you all right? Xiao Yang on the side was still listening well. After all, about the Do Technique Pavilion and the ruins, no one talked to Xiao Yang, so Xiao Yang naturally didn't know. Ah! With an exclamation, Qin Shin immediately returned to normal. Xiao Yang, you have to be careful. Now the people in the Earth Palace are full of hostility towards you. Among them, the second senior brother Earth Palace has reached the level of the 7-star Do Emperor after Tong Tianhe came out. Qin Shin came to her senses. He opened his mouth immediately. A powerhouse in the early stage of the 7-star Do D. Xiao Yang was slightly startled. This second apprentice brother of the Earth Hall, Zhu Yuan, had a relationship with him before. This person made Xiao Yang feel an inexplicable pressure. I am afraid that he must have his strength to become the second apprentice brother of the Earth Palace. However, the current Xiao Yang's strength has also reached the completion of the 6-star Do Emperor, and he is not far from the 7-star Do Emperor. With the addition of many means in his hands, I am afraid to deal with the powerhouses in the early stage of the 7-star Do Emperor. Even if he can't defeat, self-protection is no problem. Or what are the ruins you just mentioned? Xiao Yang was curious. That ancient relic, the specifics are not known yet, but the pavilion master has already sent news. It is estimated that it will be revealed in 4 months, and then we will know. Qin Shin smiled mysteriously. Okay. Xiao Yang saw that Qin Shin was like this, so he didn't want to ask questions. After asking a few times, he left here directly. This Xiao Yang's identity seems a bit mysterious. What do you need to check, miss? Xiao Yang had just left when a middle-aged man appeared beside Qin Xin. The middle-aged man said to Qin Xin with an invisible wave all over his body that was extremely terrifying. However, if the top of the Funxiang Pavilion is here, they will definitely know that this person's strength has reached the level of the 9-star Do Emperor. No. Let's hurry up, we will go back after the sect competition. After all, the people from the Holy See are also urging us. This time, I want to go back. Qin Xin finished speaking, a wry smile appeared in her mouth, and then she put the palm of her hand in her hand. Hold tightly. Miss, we can definitely go back this time. Seeing that Qin Xin was a little excited, the figures around her immediately comforted her. It's okay, it's all over. What I lost, the next time I go back, I'll make them all back. Also, the high-level officials of the Funxiang Pavilion have been dispatched more frequently recently. You should not enter, or you will be discovered by the high-level officials of the Funxiang Pavilion, which will be troublesome. Qin Xin finished speaking and walked away from here. Yes, miss. The middle-aged man slowly agreed, and then watched Qin Xin leave. Funxiang Pavilion, although you are the #1 super sect on the Shenling continent, but in terms of our entire Dodi Sifang continent, you are a little behind. After all, our Holy See walks everywhere in the Sifang continent. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, his figure flashed and disappeared. It's been a long time, why hasn't Xiao Yang come back? Nothing will happen, right? Inside the 5 bamboo residence, Mu Yingying walked back and forth a little restlessly. Just a few hours ago, news came out that Xiao Yang had left Tongtianhe, but no one knew where he went. Don't worry, I think Xiao Yang should come back soon. Mu Feng heard the words and immediately spoke up. However, Mu Feng also wondered where Xiao Yang would go. While a few people were talking, a very uninvited guest came to Wu's Huju not far away. Is this the 5 bamboo residence? I didn't expect them to have so few disciples in the human palace, and the place to live is really good. The leading figure said slowly. The figure at the head was dressed in fiery red clothes and had curly hair, obviously quite handsome. As for the fiery red figure, there are 2 figures. The 2 figures have a submissive look. Big brother, Xiao Yang should be inside, do you see if we go in directly, or? One of the younger brothers said to the fiery red figure. Idiot. If we go in by ourselves, we will mistakenly enter the place where the disciples of the Hall of Humanity live. The deputy hall masters know that it is only us who will be punished. After all, we are wrong. The fiery red figure is also one of the strongest in the hall today. Bai. Red Chi. A powerhouse in the late stage of the 6-star Do Di. Although his strength is only in the late stage of the 6-star Do Di, he is too showy, so not many people are willing to pay attention. Second senior brother asked us to come and test the water this time, and I'm afraid the rewards will be very rich when we go back. The 2 younger brothers were a little happy when they thought that second senior brother asked them to come here this time. After all, these 2 senior brothers are the most prestigious and powerful in the entire Earth Palace. Don't worry, after this is done, you will be indispensable. Hong Chi said. Let's start. The next moment, Hong Chi said. Hong Chi just finished speaking, when the 2 younger brothers next to him suddenly looked at Wu's Huju with a malicious look. What? Why are these people hiding in front of our Wu's Huju entrance? Could it be that he is plotting against us? At this time, Green Flute had just returned from outside when he saw this scene and was slightly surprised. However, Lu Di didn't see Hong Chi, but only saw his 2 younger brothers. Although Hong Chi's strength has reached the late stage of the 6-star Do Emperor, the strength of those 2 boys is only in the early stage of the 6-star Do Emperor, so Green Flute has no intention of being afraid at all. The 2 of you. What are you doing here sneaking? A cold snort sounded directly from the mouth of the Green Flute. This woman has such an enchanting figure. When one of the 2 younger brothers saw this, he immediately stared at the Green Flute. Idiot. This person is the Green Flute of the human temple, and he has the blood of the snake people. You don't want to follow her way. Seeing this, another younger brother scolded viciously. It's actually a snake man, bah. The younger brother just finished speaking. The next moment, a chill flashed in their eyes, and without the slightest hesitation, they started directly at the Green Flute. Since you are also from Wu's Huju, the difficulty will start with you. After the 2 finished speaking, a terrifying attack was brewing directly. The 2 6-star fighting emperors in the early stage, they looked down on themselves too much. Facing the siege of the 2 6-star fighting emperors in the early stage, Green Flute didn't have the slightest fear. The power of the 7th rank. The 2 powerhouses in the early stage of the 6-star Do Di were all surprised at the same time. After all, although the two of them have mediocre talents, the power of life also has the level of 5th rank. Although the power of 5th rank life is not very high, it is relatively not weak, but what Ling and Tu did not expect is that this green flute is actually directly possess the power of the 7th grade student. There are only a handful of people in the entire Burning Incense Pavilion with the power of the 7th rank students, but those who possess the power of the 7th rank students are all strong. But how could these two think that the green flute in front of them is actually Tu? Interesting. I originally thought that your identity as a snake human race should be of average strength, but how did you know that it was hidden so deeply? The two powerhouses in the early stage of the 6-star Do Emperor laughed at the same time, but there was no fear in their voices. Even if they knew the huge gap between the strength of life, the two did not flinch. After all, if they wanted to get the reward of the second senior brother, if they didn't show some real skills, they really couldn't get it. And after pushing 10,000 steps, he said, even if the green flute's 7th rank student's strength is strong, after all, 2 fists can't beat 4 hands. Go. The two of them looked at each other and moved their figures directly. Looking at their appearance, even if they had only the power of a 5th grade student, they were not afraid of the green flute who had the power of a 7th grade student. It's no wonder I'm looking for a dead end. Green flute snorted immediately, since the two of them had just been slightly different about their status as snake people. Green flute had no good impression of the two of them. If it weren't for this place, it is the Burning Incense Pavilion that prohibits killing people. I am afraid that the green flute has already killed the two at this time. However, although I can't kill them, I can teach them a lesson. I have an idea in my heart. The direct operation of the green flute is the power of the 7th rank students in my whole body, and it goes to the 2 6-star fighting emperors. I didn't expect that the disciples of the Hall of Humanity who lived in the 5 bamboo residences had good strength and talent, but because of the appearance of Xiao Yang, the light was covered up by him. Hong Qi, who was hiding in the dark, said. Hong Qi was hiding in the dark, so he wouldn't make a move at will. After all, if he made a move at will, I'm afraid it would be passed back to the Palace Master and the others, and if they end up with the name of bullying the younger generation, it would be worth the loss. Boom boom boom. Although the two men in the early stage of the 6-star Do Emperor only possessed the 5th rank of Shengji, the cooperation and combat experience between the two were far beyond what ordinary disciples could compare. These two people actually still have some experience. It seems that they are going to try the poison. After several fights, Green Flute found that the two cooperated very well, and immediately said slightly in her heart. As the sound of the green flute just fell, there was a faint trace of green fighting chi in the bright white life force, but it was fleeting. Not found. Come again. Boom boom boom. The two men in the early stage of the 6-star Do D were inextricably fighting with Green Flute, and the battle was fierce. His grandmother, this woman's vitality is so strange. Why is it that the more we fight, the worse the situation for the two of us? A man in the early stage of the 6-star Do D opened his mouth slightly, and as a few minutes passed, he found his body seemed to be a little out of order, and as for the reason, he was at a loss. I also found out, it seems that there is a problem with the vitality of this Green Flute. The next moment, the two seemed to be aware of the problem, and immediately there was a look of doubt in their eyes. But just when the two of them discovered something was wrong, the eyes of the Green Flute on the side exuded a fierce stranglehold, and then snorted coldly. I just found out now. It's already too late. Green Flute's cold snort had just ended, and a chilling aura suddenly emerged from the snake man's prism-shaped snake pupil. Damn it. Not good. Rewind. When the two of them saw this, they immediately stepped back in surprise. Because when the Green Flute finished saying these words, the energy of life in the whole body actually disappeared, and it was replaced by a green grudge. The green color makes people panic, the poison contained in it. I am afraid that ordinary people will immediately fall if they touch it a little bit. The calamity comes from the mouth, I hope you all know. At this moment, the Green Flute seemed to be an undefeated of war, staring fiercely at the two men in the early stage of the 6-star Do D. After a few breaths, the Green Flute was not hesitating, nor was she giving the two men a chance. After all, the two men had already absorbed the toxins contained in their life force when they had just fought with him. It's the end of the game. Green Flute, don't go too far. Perceiving the chilling air of Green Flute, the two men also had the intention of retreating. Originally, the two of them just wanted to get that little attractive reward, but who would have thought that this Green Flute would actually dare to do it and want to kill them? This chilling intent could not be faked, so the two men immediately begged for mercy. Begging for mercy now, it's too late. You shouldn't murmur about humans with snake blood. After all, we are also humans, so why should we be looked down upon by others? Go to hell. After the green flute finished speaking, the eyes suddenly turned red uncontrollably, and the real killing intent suddenly emerged. No, this green flute is out of control. Seeing this, Hongqi, who was still watching the play in the dark, shouted in his heart, and then he didn't dare to stop. These two were following him. If they were killed by green flute, then the first person in the hall to be held accountable must be him. So no matter what you say, you can't let green flute kill the two of them. Let me sober up. Hongqi went straight to the green flute with a fiery energy of life. This attack is not to attack green flute, but to restore green flute's mind. The hot waves echoed in the air, and green flute woke up immediately. But the next moment, a sense of weakness spread throughout the body, and it was obvious that the loss of control just now had drawn a lot of the green flute's power. Thank you, big brother. The two men in the early stage of the 6-star Do were relieved when they saw that they were not injured. However, there is still some fear in my heart. This green flute is so terrifying when it goes crazy. It seems that it is better to provoke less in the future. Why don't you guys talk about the snake people? Hongqi reluctantly glanced at the two younger brothers at the back, and then his eyes returned to Lu Di. With such fluctuations, I'm afraid it will disturb the people inside, but it doesn't matter, I hope Xiao Yang will come along too. Hongqi said, not in a hurry after finishing speaking, and just waited. Boom boom boom. The dazzling fiery red life force with a scorching heat wave swept directly at the door of Wu's Huju, and immediately alarmed the people inside Wu's Huju. What's the situation? After all, Mu Yingying possesses holy flame, and her perception of fire attributes is different from that of ordinary people, so she immediately noticed the traces of battle not far from the door, and immediately said a word, and then directly directed Go. Go and see. The green flute has been out for so long and hasn't come back, shouldn't it be a matter of origin? After Mu Feng finished speaking, he immediately followed. The remaining one, Xiao Yi, naturally followed. What are these guys doing? Seeing that Hongqi had stopped his attack and rescued the two men in the early stage of the 6-star Do Emperor, Lu Flute had no intention of making a move, and just looked at Wu's Huju, as if what are you waiting for? This place is only a few hundred meters away from Wu's Huju. The strong fluctuation of Hongqi just now must have alarmed the people in Wu's Huju. Before long, a few of them will rush here. This point needless to say. Are you waiting for Xiao Yang? A bold idea appeared in Lu Di's mind. However, the green flute smelled a dangerous aura from the man in the red robe in front of him. Obviously, the strength of this man should be very strong. Here. The next moment, Hongqi's mouth opened slightly, and he said immediately, Green flute, are you all right? There were 3 figures in front of him. Among the 3 figures, the 2 men and 1 woman were Mu Yingying, Xiao Yi, and Mu Feng. The 3 of them immediately stepped out the door when they felt the fluctuations here. I'm fine, I'm a little weak. Seeing that several people came to him at the same time, Lu Di felt a burst of warmth in his heart. Your Excellency is fighting in the place where we live. This is too unethical. Mu Yingying was the first to speak, and the anger contained in her voice was obvious. What a beautiful beauty. Seeing Mu Yingying talking to him, Hongqi immediately focused on Mu Yingying. How can there be such a beautiful woman in the world, with snow-white skin like walking on thin ice, plus the high cold breath, like an ice lotus in the snow? Hihi, we are here this time mainly to see junior brother Xiao Yang. I heard that junior brother Xiao Yang has broken the precedent of our Funxiang pavilion since ancient times, so I couldn't help but come over to take a look. It's just that my 2 junior brothers see that your classmate is quite strong, so I want to learn from each other. Hongqi is naturally scheming. Oh, really? Mu Feng heard the words, and immediately set his eyes on the 2 men in the early stage of the 6-star Do Emperor. Although the auras of the 2 were not weak, Mu Feng had the final confidence to defeat the 2. However, the strength of the leader, Hongqi, is a bit tyrannical. Let me do it. Seeing this, Xiao Yi on the side immediately took a step forward, and the terrifying aura instantly dissipated. Damn, this person's strength. Hongqi's eyes are very old, and in just one breath, he feels Xiaoyi's tyranny. This guy's strength is probably on par with some strong people in the sect. Let me do it. After all, if you take action, the deputy hall master will not be able to explain anything. Mu Yingying shook her head. This Xiaoyi's strength has reached the level of an 8-star Do Emperor. If he takes action against a Hongqi whose strength is only in the late stage of a 6-star Do Emperor, it will be a mouthful. Okay. Xiao Yi also knew these concerns, so she didn't speak. Bring it on. Breaking into the territory of our human palace privately and injuring the disciples of our human palace is a serious crime, Mu Yingying said. Humph. If you want to fight, you will fight. Where does all this nonsense come from? After Hongqi finished speaking, the same dazzling energy of life suddenly burst out, and immediately attacked Mu Yingying. Mu Yingying also snorted coldly, but she didn't use the power of life. A tiny azure blue flame instantly emerged, and then surrounded her entire body. Boom boom boom. Hongqi's seemingly vicious attack landed on Mu Yingying, but it was like a child playing a house, without causing any fluctuations. Damn, what is this? Hongqi was shocked. His strength was in the late stage of the 6-star Do Emperor, and this attack was not weak. How could he be intercepted so easily? The strength of the late 6-star Do D is not only yours. After Mu Yingying finished speaking, the blue flame on her body suddenly expanded several times, condensing into a giant flaming snake, and staring fiercely at the huge snake mouth. Red Qi. Yu Longbu. Hongqi knew that he had to fight quickly, otherwise, once the time dragged on, it would be even more unfavorable to him. After all, this is the site of the human palace, and this action was purely for selfishness. As soon as Hongqi's voice fell, an extremely large force of life suddenly emerged, and then, with the terrifying speed of the dragon walking, it left Mu Yingying's line of sight and moved rapidly. What a fast speed! Seeing this, Mu Yingying frowned. Although the flaming snake here is extremely powerful, if it can't hit the target accurately, it's probably useless. Huangquan's anger. Just when Mu Yingying was a little confused, a voice resounded slowly through the entire human hall. With the sound of this voice, Mu Yingying was temporarily lost in her heart, because this voice was too familiar. Squeaky. The next moment, Hongqi suddenly became sluggish, with no expression, and even his actions became sluggish. Go. Naturally, Mu Yingying knew that the battle was changing rapidly, so she did not hesitate. She controlled the dazzling fire snake and attacked Hongqi suddenly. He was hit by a soul attack, and fell into a sluggish state for a short time. When Hongqi woke up, he was already hit by Mu Yingying's dazzling fire snake. The smell of burning slowly spread, and there were many injuries on the body. Immediately, Mu Yingying saw that it was almost the same, and immediately sent the fire snake away. After all, this is the burning incense pavilion. This hatred, I've written it down. Hongqi's entire body and clothes were scorched, and she stared at Mu Yingying fiercely, as if she wanted to eat her abruptly. Let's go. Hongqi said directly to the two little brothers behind him. He had failed this time. Originally, Hongqi's plan was to humiliate these people and force Xiao Yang to show up, but how could he have thought that the strength of the people in this hall was also abnormal? Why are you leaving in such a hurry? Stay and have a cup of tea. Just as the two younger brothers helped Hongqi get ready, a hearty laughter sounded slowly. It was Xiao Yang who Hongqi wanted to see. Xiao Yang? Hongqi raised his head with some difficulty, but when he saw a strange smile on the corner of Xiao Yang's mouth, he immediately screamed inwardly. Furthermore, what surprised Hongqi even more was that this Xiao Yang's strength actually made him feel a sense of trepidation. Come on, Hongqi suddenly said to the two younger brothers. When the two younger brothers were about to run away, Xiao Yang moved. After all, Xiao Yang's current strength has reached the 6-star Do Emperor consummation, so it is not easy to deal with Hongqi, who is in the early stage of the 6-star Do Emperor and the late 6-star Do Emperor. Tell me, who sent you here? Xiao Yang turned around and intercepted the three of them. A chill flashed in the eyes of the three of them, and they all knew that this Xiao Yang was probably the real ***** of plague. Yes. We were sent by the second senior brother of the Earth Palace. Second senior brother Earth Hall? Xiao Yang heard the fearful opening of one of the younger brothers. The trembling in his voice was obvious, and he immediately became puzzled. This second apprentice brother in the Earth Palace is named Zhu Yuan, and his current strength should be at the level of the 7-star Do Emperor, and with that status, it can be said that he is the strongest among the disciples in the Earth Palace today. Xiao Yang also can't remember how he was remembered by such a great god. After all, he didn't do anything. Second senior brother of the Earth Palace? Mu Feng was immediately surprised when he heard the words. As the intelligent spy of the 5 people in Wu's Huju, Mu Feng naturally knew the news. As far as I know, the second senior brother in this hall has a little bit of a difference to you, Xiao Yang. When you were in Luoling Mountain before, it should have been that weird thing, which resulted in not winning the first place. In addition to the current Tongtianhe incident, because you haven't come out for a long time, you have delayed entering the Duji Pavilion, so... Mu Feng thought quickly in his heart, and then explained to Xiao Yang. Asshole. What are you talking about? Seeing this, Hongqi scolded his 2 younger brothers. How did these 2 guys give Zhu Yuan a confession? If this matter is passed back to the second senior brother, I am afraid that the three of them will not be able to eat and walk away. By the way, and when you came back to Funxiang Pavilion and passed through Burning Heaven territory, this guy was also in charge of Burning Heaven territory, so I am afraid that Wang Chen's affairs have nothing to do with this guy. Mu Feng thought of the above again. Some things, he said immediately. Zhu Yuan, right? Let's wait for our new hatred and old hatred to settle together. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, a ferocious killing intent suddenly emerged. Come on. Hong Qi immediately shouted loudly. Although this is the Burning Incense Pavilion, God knows if this Xiao Yang will do some crazy things. Haha, your disciple is a ruthless character. Just as Xiao Yang's killing intent emerged in the sky, a laughter sounded slowly. You still have the face to say? If it wasn't for the aggressiveness of these guys in your dungeon, why wouldn't we be like this? They did this just to protect themselves, and there was nothing wrong. Two arguing voices slowly emerged from a void. If you want to tear apart the space above the Duty continent, I am afraid that the lowest strength is only possible if you have the 8-star Duty level. The people who came were Xiong Yuan and Mu Shuzi. Hong Qi, what are you doing here? The next moment, Xiong Yuan's smile gradually solidified, and then a majestic voice sounded. Reporting to the Deputy Hall Master, we are here mainly to compete with the disciples of the Human Hall. After all, the sect competition is imminent, so. Hong Qi said still unwillingly, trying to pass the test. Do you see me as dim-eyed? Go back, don't be ashamed here. I'll give you a day. If you don't take the initiative to come to me to explain the situation, then you can't blame me. Xiong Yuan finished speaking, his eyes flickered sharply. Seeing this, Hong Qi secretly scolded him for taking such a difficult order from the second senior brother. If he had known, he would not come. Now it's good. He lost his wife and lost his army. He really regretted it for the rest of his life. Yes, Deputy Hall Master. After Hong Qi finished speaking, he left here directly. The strength of your disciple. Hong Qi had just left, and Xiong Yuan Zaidu suddenly resumed his smile, as if nothing happened before. The 6-star Do Emperor is complete. Mu Shuzi said happily. This kind of improvement is too fast, isn't it? Xiong Yuan smacked his tongue secretly, and said quite enviously. Don't think that I don't know your thoughts. Xiao Yang is from our human palace, don't think about it. How could Mu Shuzi not see what Xiong Yuan was thinking? He immediately stopped. Hey, I just thought about it. Xiong Yuan was not embarrassed when Mu Shuzi saw through his thoughts. Smile slowly. Xiao Yang, you stayed in the 9th level cultivation cave for 2 full months. This broke the history of our Funxiang Pavilion since its establishment. Mu Shuzi laughed. Oh, I don't know how many people have entered before me, and how many days have they stayed. Xiao Yang suddenly became puzzled when he heard the words. After all, in the Tongtian River, if it wasn't for his own soul power to restrain the mysterious pressure, according to Xiao Yang's estimation, I am inside, but if I can't stay for 10 days, I will be expelled by that mysterious power. Before you, a total of 31 people entered, of which, only 8 people could last for more than 10 days. As for the strongest person, even if they persisted in it for 20 days, they were also ruthless. It's just that I didn't expect you to be a good kid, and I stayed in it for 2 full months. Mu Shuzi said with tears in his eyes. I see. Xiao Yang suddenly smiled when he heard this. Okay, this time we are here mainly to inform you that tomorrow, the Doji Pavilion will be fully open, and then you can freely enter and leave the Doji Pavilion to choose Doji practice. Mu Shuzi said seriously. Dojij. Xiao Yang was slightly startled when he heard the words. Although he is now extremely powerful and has reached the level of a 6-star Do Emperor consummation, he has a pitiful few Do skills in his hands, and many Do skills are even used on the Dochi continent, which is undoubtedly a long way behind others. After all, fighting skills are also an important basis for measuring a person's strength. So, the treasure of our human hall, the moving sky ruler, is also inside. The next moment, Xiao Yang suddenly remembered something and said, That's right, the moving sky ruler is also inside, but this fighting skill, since I met you and the establishment of the Funxiang Pavilion, no one has been able to learn it. Mu Shuzi heard Xiao Yang talking about the moving sky ruler, and immediately felt a burst of emotion in his heart. Although this heaven-shifting ruler is extremely tyrannical, no one has cultivated it since ancient times. But what surprised Mu Shuzi was that he intuitively told himself that this kid named Xiao Yang seemed to be struggling more than building some legends. I hope this kid can cultivate successfully. After all, our human palace has been quiet for too long. Mu Shuzi finished. He left with Xiong Yuan, obviously to inform others. Let's have a good rest today. Everyone will enter the doji pavilion tomorrow. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he took the lead in heading towards his room. The training these days was too heavy, so it was time to take a good rest. In the Hall of Earth, Zhu Yuan was sitting on a pavilion in a bamboo forest path. It looks like those guys failed. Holding a cup of tea in his hand, he said leisurely. However, then if Xiao Yang really has the ability, then step on me and go over. As long as he can win the competition in the sect behind him, there is nothing to be afraid of using me as his stepping stone. But I have already prepared so much. If you can't defeat me, then it means that the eyes of Zhu Laro and the Hall Masters are wrong. Even then, I will still provoke this role. Xiao Yang, I've done so much, I hope you don't let me down. After Zhu Yuan finished speaking, he returned to calm. I wish you all a happy holiday. This video will end here.